Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video.
Hey, this is a throwaway account since I have friends in my official one. Let me give you the relevant background. Me, 32 female, and my twin sister have a great uncle. He and his husband are child-free and we're the only kids in the whole family. When we were high school freshmen, he sat us down and told us that he would like to leave his practice, orthodontics, to us if we want to. I agreed and worked hard for it. My sister, on the other hand, always wanted to be a homemaker. Nothing wrong with that. When we were accepted to college, he paid for mine and gave an equal amount to her that she used on a big wedding and a grand honeymoon. Her husband has a great job, but they've always been deep in debt because they like to keep up with the Joneses. New car each year, grand vacations, kids in private school, and a ton of extracurriculars. 2 years ago, I was finally able to join my uncle's practice, so he transferred everything to my name and left his huge paid-off house in a gated community to my sister. Then he and his husband moved to Florida to live the life. It was just bad luck that a few months later, COVID hit and the practice started suffering. And that's when my sister started gloating about how she was the smarter twin in the end, how she ended up with a paid-for house and a great family while I was an old maid with a worthless practice. I ignored her remarks, the same as I have been doing for years. Then restrictions eased and I started making money. I just bought a condo and a Tesla. 2 days ago, she visited me. Then she asked me for $20K. Apparently, they took out a mortgage on their house because her husband lost his job, and now they're behind on their house payments, car payments, all the bills, and kids' tuition. I was sympathetic, offered to help her with budget, and said that if they gave their cars back, I could pay the difference and get them a used one. Also that I would get them current on essential bills and get them food, but that was that. She got angry, said I was a bad sister and that I was lording the fact that I was a successful doctor over her, that I wanted to see her brought low. I couldn't accept the disrespect in my own house, so I asked her to leave and to only contact me when she was ready to apologize and act rational about her situation. She called me a witch and left. Then she blocked me from wherever and went whining to our parents. I still think that I'm right, but I don't want to see my nephews or niece become homeless. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You offered a substantial amount of help already. It's not your fault she wouldn't take it and refuses to compromise on any of her luxuries to survive. Plus the gloating she did over you for years and now wanting $20K without even putting in any effort makes her sound like an entitled brat. So I say don't give her a dime at this point. If you start handing money over now, it will never stop. Families are the worst when it comes to money. If she's not willing to shift and budget, she's literally just wanting your money. It has nothing to do with keeping a roof over her head. If things were that bad, she would be okay budgeting. This is an issue they brought on themselves, and if you bail them out now, you will be bailing them out for years. Do not become the family at the moment. Not the a-hole. They can apply for assistance like everyone else. They're also both able-bodied adults, so if they want to maintain an extravagant lifestyle, they can both get jobs to support it. You were quite generous to offer to help them catch up and buy food. That's more than most people struggling right now have help with. You're not obligated to help her at all. Yet you did despite her insults during the shutdown. Your sister needs to grow up, and if your parents are enabling her behavior, they can go into debt helping her if they want to. Your nephews and nieces are not going to become homeless. Your sister may be spoiled, but I doubt she and her husband are dumb enough to not downsize once they realize you're not just going to cave to this thin emotional manipulation, which is some weak sauce. Stick to your guns. You offered logical, reasonable help. When she stopped being twisted about it, you could add that having just gone through a squeeze, you've learned to be cautious, and that includes saving. If you blow it all on bailing them out now and get hit by another economic downturn in a month, you'd all be screwed. Not the a-hole. I have an older sister who's married. I'm single. When my father was dying, he warned me, you can give them $1 million and in 6 months, they will not only be broke, but they'll have more debt than before you gave them anything. They're an endless money pit. Love her, listen to her, but don't ever give her a penny. I couldn't control my mom. They make way more than we do. They're always in money trouble and barely making it. A budget could cure it all. They will never do it. You can't help someone. You worked for everything you have. They would make you lose it all and they would still be trying to live the high life and be no better off than they were. Stand strong. If no one makes them pull themselves out of this, they will always be doing this. Good luck. Maybe you could pay for their schools if they go to boarding school and they would get fed and housed during school time. Or you could look after the kids. You obviously don't have to and should not be guilted to do so. But yeah, not the a-hole. Oh, and you shouldn't be lending money to your sister. You would be giving her money. She would never pay you back. She and her husband are in desperate need of budget help. Next story. I, female 22, live with my boyfriend, male 24, in a 2-bedroom apartment. I pay the rent, but the apartment is actually owned by my parents, which is why I can't afford it because they charge me 30% of market rate. I also pay for utilities and other small bills. My parents are extremely house proud plus frugal. So for a university student, I like to keep it tidy, tastefully decorated, well stocked, etc. because this is how I was raised. My mom literally beams when she sees my place, and I kind of like that feeling, lol. The issue is that my boyfriend, who recently moved in because his place has issues with damp, is turning my place into a swamp. It's been 4 months and I'm losing my mind. He pees around the toilet and doesn't clean up. He leaves dishes in hallways. He lets the trash pile up until it overflows. He leaves muddy footprints all over the house and on the bed. Every possible mess you can think of, he manages to create it. The first 2 months, I really tried to keep the peace by compromising, telling myself I'm the person who needs it super clean, so I'm the one who needs to be the super cleaner. But that just bred resentment and anger in me. The bigger problem is that my parents are visiting soon. By soon, I mean literally next Wednesday. I've asked him to clean before Wednesday for the last 2 weeks, but he's ignored me each time. Each time he finds a new excuse to delay it one more day. If they find out how trashed the house is, I'll lose my privileges and their trust. And if they find out he's created about $2,000 in damage since he's been here, I'm double screwed because money wasting and messiness are their 2 pain points. So I bit the bullet and told my boyfriend he has to move out by Wednesday and that I don't want him to clean anymore because I'll do it myself, plus with the help of a cleaner. Reddit. He flipped, called me controlling, uptight, financially abusive, and evil because I hired the cleaner so silently and I guess malevolently. I think he expected me to warn him and beg before booking someone. My friends, some, not all, and his friends are siding with him because they don't know how bad the house really is. They've kind of implied that I'm throwing him under the bus to chase validation from my parents and to keep my gravy train rolling. Now I'm wondering if that's true because I told him to leave by Wednesday, which is when they arrive. If it really was about me, didn't I have 4 months to draw the line? Because I can't tell if I'm enforcing my own boundaries or my parents. Am I the a-hole? Edit. This is the only edit I will add. He has a flat that has since been damp-proofed, but he doesn't want to go back because his flatmates do not want him back under any circumstances. He has no home, but he has a place to sleep, if that makes sense. Also, I don't mind the lack of rent or utilities. That would have been paid regardless if I had 2 boyfriends or none. This is purely about cleanliness. Thank you for reading, and I apologize for not being clearer. Let's assume you're kicking him out only to keep your gravy train going. So what? That doesn't make you the a-hole. The cost of the gravy train is 30% of market rate and maintaining the property in a condition acceptable to your parents. You are absolutely not the a-hole for paying the price for that gravy train. The fact that your hopefully ex-boyfriend isn't mature enough to pay the ticket price to the gravy train and his and your friends aren't smart enough to see that is just sad. Not the a-hole. He doesn't want a girlfriend. He wants a maid, cook, set toy who provides free housing and takes all responsibility for taking care of him while needing nothing. He's a grown man and can't pee in a toilet. Just know. Be glad you didn't have kids with him because he will never ever be a partner. Good God. break up with him, and send up some praises to God or the universe that you found out he's a needy little baby and a massive jerk before you were more committed. He has no respect for you or the generosity of your family. Sounds like a freeloader who isn't worth your time. If he can't respect your home, he's never going to respect you. Move on. Just be glad you're not married and that it's not technically his home too. He did you a favor by showing you his cards. Sounds like you can do better. Not the a-hole. And dang, you need some new friends. Look, a huge part of cohabitation is determining whether you can actually live with a person in a long-term committed relationship. Like, that's kind of the main point of moving in with someone, no? Upon moving in, you unfortunately have discovered that your boyfriend is a slob who has no respect for his living space or the work required to maintain it, nor does he take the responsibility in keeping his own home livable. All he does is create extra work for you and doesn't help out in the slightest. And the longer you live with him, the worse it'll get, in my opinion. You should both boot him out and end the relationship. And while, yes, your parents' visit may be expediting this decision, that doesn't mean it's the wrong one. Sometimes one needs a fire lit under one's own to do what they need to do. So tell boyfriend that his gravy train is at the end of the line. And next time, find yourself a man who can not just wipe his own pee dribbles, but wash dishes and run a vacuum without complaint too. Not the a-hole. He doesn't respect you or your property. $2,000 of damage in 4 months? I didn't even know that was possible. You asked him nicely so many times. Get rid of him. He is not a partner to you. You are his mother-made landlord doormat. He won't change. If I was a guest in someone's house, you bet your I would be trying to keep their home clean and trying to be helpful and respectful. You do not owe him housing. He is not your responsibility. He does not care about your comfort. He is ungrateful. He is entitled. He sucks. Kick him out and dump him. The $2,000 in damage is due to him breaking an expensive wardrobe by filling it up so much with clothes and sports equipment. The back came off completely. Not in multiple spots of damage, but also difficult to hide if I move out in the future. Next story. I'm a 28-year-old woman, and I got really lucky to get the job I have right now. I studied electrical and computer engineering in college and job hopped 4 times. Each time I switched jobs, I negotiated really hard for pay and benefits. I'm making $160,000 now working remotely and living in a very low cost of living area. It's a really nice gig, and I recognize I'm extremely lucky to have interests that line up with a super well-paying industry and super lucky to have been able to go to college at all. Despite that, I feel like I did work to deserve it somewhat. College was super demanding and difficult. My first few jobs had grueling schedules, and I feel like I'm being paid more for the knowledge I built over that time. But still, I have to admit, it's pretty cushy. I never work over 40 hours a week. My coworkers never contact me about work outside my 9 to 5. I get paid stupid good money for it, and I have 2 months vacation time. So on to the conflict. My boyfriend used to work outside the home. He is an IT admin at a large company. But because of the pandemic, his job became partially remote. So we're working out of the same house, and I think he sees how different our jobs and pay are. He makes $65,000 a year and works a lot longer hours. He usually starts his day at 7 or 8 a.m. and works till 6 or 7 p.m. He more often has to work weekends to do IT stuff, and he is on call for emergencies with his personal phone. And it seems like they're having emergencies every week. So since we've been working from home together, he makes comments about it occasionally, like, must be nice kind of things. Recently, he's gotten more frustrated with me though. Yesterday, I had a bad headache, so I told my boss that I was going to be away from my desk for a while since I wasn't feeling well. I blocked out a 2-hour meeting on my calendar so people wouldn't try to reach me and took a nap. My boyfriend saw me napping during work and said, "They're really paying you to sleep, huh?" I snapped at him, saying they were paying me for my skills and that I didn't care for the way he had been talking about my job. He said something petty about my skills at napping and shooting the crap on Zoom, and how that's definitely worth 6 figures. And I got really irritated and said that just because he was underpaid doesn't mean that he could call me overpaid. If he was mad, he should go take that out on his boss, not me. He said that I was being ridiculous. He'd be in this crap at work if he did. I said maybe he needs to find a better job if his boss isn't ready to talk about money. He called me privileged and out of touch and said that it isn't that easy to just go find a better job. I said that if you don't try, you're never going to know. He got irritated and stormed out. Am I the a-hole for how I talked to my boyfriend about work? Not the a-hole, obviously, but I'm really sorry this isn't going to work out. For a partnership to work, you need to support each other and build each other up. He's jealous, of course. Me too, stupid arts degree. But he's trying to diminish you rather than celebrating where you've gotten to, asking for advice. You really do deserve someone who thinks you're amazing. This right here. My work situation is similar to original posters, and my wife was surprised at first when she realized it. Never did she put me down or diminish it. Instead, she talks about how inspiring it is to her to see how my company treats me, and how she hopes to find as good of a career as me someday. She's significantly younger. Original poster deserves a partner mature enough to handle the ramifications of his own decisions. So, you've worked hard in college and got a great degree, changed jobs 4 times, and gone through the new job grill, cracked 4 interviews, negotiated well, work a full-time job, and you talk like it's all easy and you're not doing anything major? Girl, you don't appreciate yourself, and I think it might have to do something with your man. I make more than my husband, and I'm from a super patriarchal country, and not once has my husband spoken to me like this. You need to get out because he's not going to understand or change. This is who he is. He's jealous and petty and insecure. If he can't let you nap when you have a headache, he doesn't love you. I'm sorry, but the longer you stay, you're totally going to stop loving yourself. Talk to a few friends, talk to a therapist, get your thoughts and feelings in order and get out, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. I honestly cannot imagine being mad at my partner for succeeding. Like, does your boyfriend want you to struggle like he is? I mean, sure, I'd probably be jealous, but if anything, I'd be bugging you 24/7 to help me look for a job and ask how you landed the role you have. I get frustrated with a crappy work situation, but you aren't in control of your boyfriend's workspace. And while it's true you can't just magically find a dream job, it sounds like you only found it after lots of work and looking and not settling, something your boyfriend clearly needs to do more of. Yeah, I feel like he doesn't realize, since he met me when I was at this job, is that I've had a pretty difficult and stressful pattern over the years of get job, learning period where I try to gain as many new diverse skills as possible, get burnt out or unhappy there, get looking for a new job, resumes, LinkedIn, networking, blah, get rejected a lot, get offers that I reject for various reasons, too far away, low salary, bad benefits, and contract terms, get offer that I consider, salary and benefits negotiation, going back and forth over weeks to a month, potentially get offer rescinded for negotiating too hard, potentially repeat, get offer that I consider, salary and benefits negotiation, going back and forth over weeks to a month, negotiate to get a good salary and benefits package, accept new job, learning period where I feel out of my depth, and repeat. This is actually the first job I had where I'm getting to the 2-year mark and not looking for a way out. My last couple jobs were exhausting, long hours, or bad work environment, or both. So it's nice to settle in somewhere. Like, ever since college, I've probably been actively searching for the next best thing for 1/3 of my time. And anyone who's gone through the job hunt process knows that it's practically a whole job in itself. It's a totally different experience than sticking with one company long term and trying to go through climbing the ladder internally.